Welcome everyone. Thank you for clicking on this video. This one's a little bit out of my norm, and this one might be a little bit hard for me to do, y'all, but I think I need to do it anyway. I'm not for sure what I'm gonna title this video yet, so I can't refer to that. Right now I'm thinking it's just gonna be Thanks Dad. Maybe with a few dots or maybe exclamation point, and then I might add something to it like a Smith Wesson story or something. I don't know for sure. We'll see. But right now it's October, about mid-October of 2024. And those of you who follow my channel, they probably know, you might have heard me mention some videos about my dad. It's been a tough year. Year started in January of 2024 with January 16th, actually, my dad had a stroke. I live just outside of Houston, as many of you know, and Dad lived up in northeast Arkansas. 600 miles away on the button is how far away his house is when you put it in the Google Maps or something like that. And I got the call January 16th. I had actually tried to call him several times that day. And about 1 o'clock, I guess, is the first time I called him. And didn't get a hold of him, which is not unusual. He might be out in the house or doing something like that, you know. Not in the house. He might be out in the shop, rather. Working out in the yard, doing stuff that a 81-year-old guy would do. You know, he was always staying busy. Building a motorcycle trike actually was one of his most recent hobbies. Along about 2, 3 o'clock, he hadn't called me back yet, which was very unusual. So I tried calling again, and then subsequently every 30 minutes or something like that. Long about 5 o'clock, I was really getting worried. I noticed that he had showed up online on Facebook Messenger. Those of you who aren't familiar with that might know that when someone's online on Facebook Messenger, it shows as like a little green light. I'm like, well, Dad, you know, Dad's on his phone. He's doing something. Finally, he called me about 6 o'clock, probably. Could hardly talk. I could barely make out what he was saying, but long story short was he had collapsed earlier that day, about noon, in his house. So I called my neighbor, or Dad's neighbor, a good buddy of mine, Jay. Jay, if you're watching this, I can't even begin to thank you and y'all's family enough for everything. But yeah, Jay came over and got him. Ambulance came and got him. It took him. He had massive blood clots in his lungs and his legs, like 70% blood oxygen level when he got to the hospital over there, a little hospital over in Batesville, Arkansas, is where they took him. A few days later, after being at the hospital, he had a stroke while he was actually in the hospital. I, of course, as soon as Dad went in, drove all the way to Arkansas that night. And I guess it was on a Tuesday, I believe, is when he collapsed, if I remember right. Yeah, it was on I'm going to take that back. It was on a Monday. I drove up there, got there sometime on Tuesday. Wednesday, they went in and took out his blood clots. And I was up at the hospital with him on Saturday. They took him down to do a CT scan. They're talking about letting him go home maybe that following Monday. And when he came back from the CT scan, they were checking for malignancies to see if that might have caused his blood clots. I noticed he wasn't using his left arm. Scared me. I said, Dad, can you move your left leg? And he said no, and I went running to the nurse's station, and within about less than a minute, they had, I bet you there was a dozen people in that hospital room that were checking on him, and sure enough, Dad had had a stroke. So that was all in January this year. He was discharged February 16th, went home for about 10 days while we got things ready down here. We moved him down here to Texas, and we subsequently took care of him. My wife and I, going through his physical therapy sessions and everything. Boy, that is just a beautiful little gun, isn't it, guys? But along about August, actually along about June or July, Dad was ready to go home. He felt he was good enough where he could get up and down. He was able to get up and down, go to the bathroom, get around and stuff with the walker. So we took him home August the 1st. About 10 or 11 days later, I can't remember the exact dates now, he collapsed again at his home up in Arkansas, and it comes to find out that he had a, what do they call it, a hematoma, an acute subdural hematoma in his brain, which is a brain bleed. The neurologist said there's evidence that it had been there for a while, but when he collapsed in Arkansas, it made it much worse. It was stable for a few days, and then it started enlarging, and it was shortly after that we lost him. You know, Dad passed away on August the 20th. August the 20th. But I tell you all that because that's all key to this story. And this isn't a story about a gun. I'm going to make sure I don't put anything about guns in the title, although a gun, it does feature prominently in it. I just wanted to tell you guys about my dad. You know, Dad was one of those guys that a kid like me, you know, growing up in northeast Kansas is where I grew up until I was in my I wasn't even a teenager yet when we moved to Arkansas. But ultimate dad. I mean, I remember him buying me my first gun, a single shot 410. I think it was an old Stevens single shot. I was in first grade, and the reason I know that is because I was all excited about it, and Dad was going to take me out to shoot trap with it. Him and his buddies sometimes would go out and shoot trap at night. They had a shooting range there in Topeka, Kansas. This is where we lived at the time, and this would have been 1976, 77 time range, probably sometime in there. And Dad took me out to shoot that 410. And I remember he had to cock it for me. The hammer was so stiff. Every time before I shot, Dad stood up there next to me at the trap range and would have to cock it for me. And then I would get my turn to shoot. And I hit 4 or 5 Blue Rock, you know, out of a box of 20 or 25 rounds. I don't remember how they used to do it. But time of my life, though. Subsequently, you know, Dad, he was a gun guy back then, had quite a few guns. I remember him bringing this gun home. This is a Smith Wesson Model 17 that was manufactured, I believe, I want to say it was in 1978, I believe. I looked it up before, and we might be able to tell for sure here in a second, actually. But this was his first .22 pistol he brought home, and it's clear, y'all. And as you can see, it hasn't been shot a whole lot. I mean, there's barely a turn ring on it. But I tell you what, I used to have so much fun with this gun when I was a kid. I remember shooting it in Kansas under Dad's supervision, of course. And then later on, once I was about 12 or 13, you know, I was old enough then, I could go out if he was at work or something like that. I could get me a box of shorts or something and go out and do some plinking with it. And it was probably in my early 20s is when he finally gave it to me. And I did a video on this gun. You can find it. I'll put a link in up here if I remember to do it or not. I'll probably try to remember to do it when I'm editing this thing. But a very precious gun. You know, a lot of guys are like me. They were fortunate enough to grow up with a gun-loving father, a responsible father, someone who taught them about guns at an early age, taught them responsible gun handling, things like that. And yeah, I want to say thank you. I want to say thank you to my dad for that. You know, he was, like I said, he was just one of the best dads a guy like me could ask for. And I imagine that a lot of you watching this video, I did have to pause it for a second, y'all. Sorry about that. I imagine a lot of you watching this video probably had dads just like that. Someone who taught them firearm responsibilities at an early age. I know I tried to do the same with my son, you know, when he was growing up. And if you're watching this video, I hope he is. He claims he watches my videos sometimes. But he's another gun guy like me. You know, he's got a lot of guns just like I do. And he's doing the same with his boys, with my grandsons now, too. But, yeah, I just wanted to tell you that about my history of Dad and a story. So, I love this gun. Have always loved it. When Dad passed away, we were cleaning out his house. And going through some stuff, and he only had a couple of guns left. One of them I gave to a good friend of his, and the other one was one that he was restoring that I brought it home. He had just got it recently. It was like a old Savage or a Stevens single shot 22, just like he had when he was a kid. But my wife was going through some stuff in the utility room and found this box, and I'll drop in a picture of it right here. And like a lot of guys who have gun-loving parents, or a lot of guys just like myself, it was a box of old dirty cleaning patches and shotgun cleaning rods, just a miscellaneous box of junk, and of course I've got all the gun cleaning equipment I need and everything, and I kind of glanced through it, and I was going to throw it away. I was like, well, I don't really have any shotguns, and I already have a set of shotgun cleaning rods, and this is mostly just oiled up junk and everything. But I happened to notice something on the box when I was getting ready to throw it away, and I've got it closed up now. But I said, you know what? That's a metal banded box. And I flipped the box over, and I saw this. And I was like, wow, Dad's got an old Smith Wesson box that he's using to hold all those shotgun parts in. And then I flipped it over and saw the label. Model 17.4. And it's hard to tell. Let me see how close I can get. I don't know if I can get this to focus or not. But that's it, folks. This is the box for my Model 17. I mean, sitting around in a shelf at my dad's house, and we've lived in a few houses since then. I tell you, really one of the best finds I've had, guys. I mean, I'm just talking, I was just ecstatic about it. You can barely see the 1K31 something 35 or something like that. $21K3185. $21K3185. And you guys remember, I'm sure you know, Smith did a serial right here, 21K31. There you go. I was just tickled to death, y'all. I'm telling you. Any gun guys like me, I mean, we all know how nice it is to have the original boxes, but to stumble upon the original box for one of your favorite guns, one of my favorite guns, while I'm cleaning up Dad's house and his possessions, wow. I threw away the rods. Well, I did actually kept the rods. I threw away all the oily rags and stuff like that. And this is what was left in the box. I don't know what of this came from Smith. I seriously doubt these did. An old Jag, a couple of wire brushes. But this was in there. And this looks like it might have been a cleaning rod that came with them. I need to do some research and see if Smith used or supplied rods like this. And then this is some sort of a screwdriver. If any of y'all know, if you can tell me, hey, if this is the stuff that came with these guns originally, I'd appreciate knowing it. I'm going to keep it, of course, because it might be something that came with it. We've even got the oil paper, or the paper that it was wrapped in, probably when it was new. And then we've got a lot of some miscellaneous paperwork in here. There's another piece of like onion paper. Got the original warranty card, I guess. We've got this. Maybe this is the warranty card, December 27, 1978. And this is something showing that this gun was actually sent in for repair, which kind of surprised me. But yeah, they did do repair. And here's a paperwork on it from Twitchell Gun Shop. Now, I've been meaning to look this up, see if they're in still business and whatnot. I don't know for sure if they are or not. Larned, Kansas. My suspicions is probably these guys were at a gun show in Topeka, Kansas, which is where we lived at the time. Probably they were at a gun show or something like that, and they sold this gun to my dad. We used to go to gun shows out there at the fairgrounds. But yeah, it looks like it was in for warranty. I'm trying to see if this shows. Trying to see if this shows what they did to it. Oh, here it is, right here. Here we go. Twitchell Gun Shop, if you guys are still around and watching this, thanks for taking care of my dad back in 1978. Replaced defective front sight. No cost. I wish the original receipt from when my dad bought it was in here, but I looked and looked and did not find it. Something right here, it shows it was sent by UPS back in the day. We've got the original, and you can see there was a lot of dirty, greasy parts on top of this. The original revolver paperwork for that. This. And this, talking about Smith Wesson ammunition. And that's it, y'all. I tell you, this, you know, we were up there redoing Dad's house. We're going to make it to, Dad left the house to me. We're going to make it into an Airbnb. My wife and I are, try to get it to pay for itself. Sorry. But I tell you, I honestly could not think of many better gifts that Dad could have left me, you know. And I'm sure he didn't know that I was going to find this. Hell, Dad probably never even, it was just a box to Dad. He didn't care about original boxes or any of that shit, to put it in his own words, probably. He probably didn't think anything of it. It was just an old box that he had, you know, with his gun stuff. And he thought, well, what the hell, I'll put some shotgun cleaning stuff in here, you know, and call it, you know, you use it like that. Yeah, I tell you, that made a hard trip into a very good trip. And yeah, so today I just wanted to take this time and share that story with y'all. I hope there's dads like that still around today. I can guarantee you this. I know there probably are still dads like that around today, but I can guarantee you this: there's not enough of them. Yep. Thanks for watching, guys. Please click that little thumbs up on this channel. Let me know if you have any questions on this old beauty. If you knew Dad, you know, post down in the comments. You know, there's a few of his friends, I think, that watch the channel. Just know that he's greatly missed. And if you got a similar story, just take a minute and type it down there in the comments. Let me know. Y'all have a good day.